What is up, guys? We are back with a Oob deck profile. Of course, you know, World Martial Art Power Boosters just dropped about a week ago, and our boy Oob was probably on the best side of the stick. He got a lot of new toys to play with, and we're going to see exactly how his deck gets better, how it's evolved, and some of the cool plays that you can do. Definitely, if you want to check out a more meat and bones, detailed description, competitive builds, what your ideal turn 1, turn 2, etc., please check out our Patreon. That's where we go and take this to another level and definitely give you guys that very competitive content that you may not see on YouTube. But for now, we're going kind of with like a stock build after playtesting it a little bit. I do like this leader. I did play Oob before all these cards came out, and it was actually pretty good for a small little period of time, back when you had to pay Hercules for an actual 3 energy and, you know, Pan for 4. Now you're just like cheating the rules with these. And of course, Oob now makes his way onto the actual competitive tier list, and we're gonna see exactly how high after competitive events start shaping the format. But I think it sits at a very good position and is definitely a solid choice if you're looking for a local or larger tournament. It may actually be able to do the distance and take you to a top place finish. But let's go and talk about first let's talk about the leader, and you know, your boy Dende over here. The leader, pretty good. When it attacks leader, draws a card. I don't like leaders that have to attack leader to activate an effect, but what more can you ask for? It draws a card on the front side, which is great. Awaken at 4 or less, untap 2 energy on Awaken, which is great. I like the untap 2 versus untap 1, draw 1 versus draw 2. I like the untap 2. That's one of my favorite. It really allows for an explosive turn. And then backside draws a card, and also you can take a life, put that life to your hand, and put back any battle card from your opponent's field back to their hand. So very good against the meta right now. Broly is really sitting at the top of the food chain, and being able to disrupt their chain, very good. And to note, you can use this effect multiple times, and every time you use this effect, it gains 5k for that turn. So you can really go all in. If you're sitting at 4 and you're going for that kill turn, you can just take 3 of your own life and make him massive. So let's start off with 1 drop over here. Dende, Astute Savior. This is the first power booster exclusive card that we have in this deck, and this deck plays a lot of them. This one is a 1 drop, so it gives Oob a very solid 1 drop. World Martial Art cards already had really very good 1 drops. This is one that just adds the cherry to the top of the cake. And this one, when you play it, you can choose a World Martial Art card with an energy cost of 5 or less from your deck, send it to the warp, and then next turn, get it back to your hand. Now, there's not a lot of cards in the game that do this, guys. Searching a card from your deck, putting it into your hand, very good. This one delays it by a turn, not that big of a deal. Still a very solid 1 drop. And it also has an activate main to boot. For 2 energy, you can actually send this to the drop, and then you can bring out an energy cost of 3 from your hand, World Martial Art card. So there's an interesting ruling with this, and we'll get to it once we start talking about the other piece of the puzzle. But very, very good card. Dende is 100% mandatory in this deck and is the best 1 drop that you can possibly start with. Next is the announcers. This is what World Martial Arts had as 1 drops before Dende, and this one allows you to do 2 different things with it. It serves 2 different purposes. It can be a 1 energy, draw 2 cards if you have another 2 World Martial Art cards out on the field already, which is pretty easy because all of the World Martial Art cards really need another piece of the puzzle to really be affecting your opponent at all. So that's very good because it can scale onto each other once you got everything set up. Or if you're really in a vulnerable, tight position, this can serve as another negate. So for 1 energy, you can simply just counterattack your opponent's push, and boom, comes out onto the field. And it's also a 5k combo. So what more can you ask for from a 1 drop than Play-by-Play Pro? And of course, we have Announcer Ever Curious as well. This one allows you to search top 7. This was the old school Dende, if you want to call it. This would search you a piece of the puzzle, a piece of the World Martial Arts puzzle, by looking at the top 7. So it would have to be in that top 7. So it's not as good anymore, but we still want to play it because it does give us extra looks at our deck. So definitely, I think 2 copies was great, and it's been playing out very well so far. There are times that you're not going to hit the Dende, unfortunately. So next one is Awakening Talon Pan. I think this is the best like blue Self-Awakener. I mean, it's the only blue Self-Awakener, but I think it's the best card that you have access to because it fits the theme. It's world martial art. I mean, you see Janemba play this, you see other blue decks play this, but it fits perfectly in this deck because you can actually search it, which is insane. And of course, it's evasive. It goes back to your hand at the end of turn. Very powerful card. And of course, it's a Pan, so it actually fits the theme. When can you play a Pan card in theme in your deck, right? So, next card, and this is the most powerful card in your deck, I believe. Videl, Proudest Mother. Now, yeah, it does say 4 energy costs on there, which is unfortunate, but permanent ability is very strong if the leader's a World Martial Arts tournament and you don't have any battle cards in your battle area. This card's cost becomes now 2. Now, it is 2 blue, so don't be charging announcers or anything like that, but very good because this is your ideal turn 2. You want to slap this Videl down on the board. Now, there is a downside. You need to have a Hercule on your hand to get maximum value out of this card. When it is played in the battle area, you can play a Hercule from your hand. So you can't search a Hercule or anything like that. Ideally, Dende would search for the Hercule, and then you'll play the Videl to play the Hercule. And at the end of turn, Videl will go back into the deck, not to the drop, so pretty good against Janemba, and bring out the Pan. The Pan will draw you 2 cards, and the Hercule also allows you to untap an energy as well for having the Pan out. So pretty good combos, very strong play. Definitely by turn 2 being able to play these. Like I said, back in the day, Oob was still a pretty good deck, and you had to play Hercule on 3 and Pan on 4, so you can imagine how much better it is now. And of course, the Hercule, this is the main thing that you want in your deck. This is like the enchantment of the deck. This is the thing that you're going to keep out on the board. It has barriers, so it's safe from Mass Saiyan and the like. It does read when your Pan is played into the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then at the end of your turn, choose one of your energy, switch to active mode. So, you need to have the Hercule out for the Pan to do anything, really. And it's a 3-drop, but like I said, you can bring it out as early as turn 2 with Videl. So, thing to note, if you do have multiple Hercules on board, yes, they will trigger, individually. So, one Hercule will draw you 2, and then a pending auto at the end of turn to untap 1. The other one will also then resolve, draw you another 2. So if you have 2 of these bad boys stacked up while you play one of these, you're going to be in for a good time because this is the Pan Proudest Daughter. Now it does cost 4, but the Videl does play it for free out of your deck at the end of the turn, so pretty good. Now this Pan is a threat in itself. That Hercule doesn't really do much other than generate card advantage, but that's all he needs to do because Pan is doing all the heavy lifting here. This has dual attack no matter what. It's got a 15k body, but when it has Hercule out, it really wants to impress Hercule. So that's the grandpa, right? So you got to give it something more. Now it does get double strike and it does get plus 10k power. So at the end of it, you get a 25 dual attacking double striker on top of that card advantage that you're immediately seeing, which is actually just really insane because you don't have to tap out for any of these plays, which I really like. And this Pan's going to hit multiple times. You don't need to have multiple battle cards to pressure your opponent. All it takes is just one Pan, and that's hitting twice. So very, very powerful combination of cards there. The next linked cards that we play in this deck is the Oob Goku combo. Now, Oob and Goku really only they summon each other. So once you play one, and the other one gets summoned. Now, with these specifically, you must summon the Goku before the Oob. So you play the Goku, then Goku says, "Hey, come out, Oob," and the Oob comes out for free. So you only play 3 to play these 2 cards. So for 3 energy, you get 2 very good effects. The Oob actually puts back 2 cards, battle cards from your opponent's area, back to the bottom of their deck. They need to be 20k less or 20k power or low or less. So put them back into the deck. So Oob serves as your removal, and then the Goku will come out, and his effect is really to just bring out the Oob. And then they both pump each other by 5k. The Oob has critical, and the Goku has double strike. So you have 2 very big pieces of pressure right there, which is very good for 3 energy. This is a great follow-up to the Videl play on turn 2. Very, very good cards, and this is really the only sense of removal that you have in the deck, so you really want to hold on to those for when your opponent starts pressuring you with something very lethal. Or a big board, or against Kid Goku, very good. Now, next card we play, this is a World Martial Arts exclusive. This is Son Goku Jr., Heroic Successor. Now, we only play one copy of this card because you only really need to play one copy of this card. You don't need to play this multiple times a turn or a game or anything like that. Just playing one is devastating enough. Now, this does cost 4 energy, so it is all the way at the back of your curve. But this actually pans out perfectly. Huh? Get it? Pan? It does have double strike. It has an auto. When you play this card, leader cards World Martial Arts, search, and look at the bottom card of your deck. If it's a Vegeta Jr., play it. Now, how do you do that? You're going to see once we read Vegeta Jr. Very simple. Now, it does actually have an activate main. Once per turn, choose one Vegeta Jr. in rest mode in your battle area, switch to active mode, and at the end of turn, choose up to 1 of your energy and switch to active mode. So, very good. You see the recurring theme here, untap an energy at the end of turn. It really makes it so that you can play your whole deck on curve and not have to tap out, which is actually one of the most scariest things to tap out on your big turn, because if you don't kill them and they're like, oh man, he's tapped out, I should really just defend all this and then I can just kill him because he has no negates open or anything like that. This will make it so that that is not a thing. So, very good card. It's only really very powerful when you read Vegeta Jr. and you'll get why we're playing this combo after you read this card. This is another World Martial Art Power Booster exclusive, unfortunately, but a very darn good one at that. It has critical, so the Goku having double strike, this one having critical, so they're both kind of pressure. 1900 is not the worst. It's not the best attack, but it is what it is. It has an activate main. If your leader is World Martial Arts, now this is my favorite part. You can take this card from your hand and put it at the bottom of your deck and draw a card. So at any phase of the game, this card essentially is not really existing. It just goes back and you draw another card. So it's like pretty insane, honestly. You don't have to discard it. It goes back into your deck against Janemba, so that's like essentially another half a turn. It's just very, very powerful. And on top of that, it puts it in the perfect position for Goku Jr. to actually bring it out from the bottom of your deck through Goku Jr.'s ability. And once you have these two bad boys on board, then they start doing a lot of cool things. And they start pressuring your opponent, and your opponent's going to... your opponent better have a beat for this turn because it's going to be really, really insane. Now, let's read the auto here. Once per turn, when this card is switched to active mode by Son Goku Jr., so, you know, obviously going to happen, right? Choose up to 1 Goku Jr. in rest mode in your battle area and switch to active mode. So, right there, you got 4 attacks. Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. are going to be coming at your opponent's face with 4 huge attacks, and they all have something, a pressuring keyword, you know, whether it be double strike or critical. It's just a very good combo. You only play one because it's just all the way at the end of your curve, and really you have nothing else in this deck that really costs that much energy. So it's a cute little combo, and there's no reason not to play Vegeta Jr. It's just, like I said, a free card. Next is going to be Mass Saiyan, the Mysterious Warrior. Now you do have like 4 or 5 different like open slots in this deck without the whole link cards that you need to play, Dende, etc. It does clunk your deck, but Mass Saiyan's actually a really good choice because you want to have some type of overwhelm. Now this can be Dimensional Banisher Fu, or it can be you know, Scientist Fu, or whatever overwhelm card you want to play. I personally like Mass Saiyan, pretty good against Kid Goku. And it's just a double striker, really, primarily. You have another access to double strike. This deck has a ton of double strikers. You always just want to pressure your opponent and make sure if they take a damage, it's 2 instead of 1. So I like Mass Saiyan personally, and that is my overwhelm choice for the deck. Next is a double striking combo card. So in the middle of combo, you can actually give double strike to one of your cards, which is pretty good when you equip it to something that has critical, like the Vegeta Jr. or the Oob. Combining double strike with critical is very devastating, and this is a perfect card to do that because it is actually a World Martial Art card, is tournament or World Tournament card. So you can actually search it with your Dende, or you can search it with your 1-drop Announcer, Ever Curious. So very, very good card, and we only play 2 because we can actually search it. Next card is Unyielding Spirit Trunks. Now this is great because you are a blue leader, so because you're a blue leader, you have access to this very, very overpowered card, and it's so overpowered that it's limited to 1. If it was limited, if it was at 4, we would play 4. Unfortunately, it's only at 1, so we play 1. But very good card because, like I mentioned on that turn 4 play, when you attack with one of the Vegeta Juniors or Goku Juniors, you can actually untap yourself in the middle of combo and then open up a bean, and then bean goes from you having 0 energy open to unyielding spirit trunks untapping 1, and then sensu bean untapping 1, and then you can like double strike, you know, it gets crazy. So, and then all that at the end of the turn, you're going to untap that 1 and make sure you're not tapped out. So it allows you to actually tap out offensively, and then your abilities are going to untap you defensively. So no reason not to play, you know, unyielding spirit trunks here. Next card is going to be Dimension Magic. Dimension Magic is the premier blue negate in the entire game. It does allow you to untap an extra energy after you pay the 1 energy to play it. So it essentially opens your 1 energy up to 2 energy, which is great. Also has the upside of if you do ever tap out for some reason, then you can actually play this by taking 1 of your own life and then untapping 2 blue. And because you're all blue, very easy to do. Okay, that rhymed. Next card is Sensu Bean, of course. What is a blue deck without Sensu Bean? We only have 3 copies because, like I said, we have very little space in this deck, and there's so many cards that already untap us for 1 energy, so I feel like Sensu Bean wasn't really 100% necessary at 4. But like I said, feel free, this is a stock version, feel free to move this, but throughout our playtesting, I didn't really see Bean as something that I really essentially needed, and I really wanted to make space for other cards like Mass Saint and things like that. So, Sensu Bean, of course, include this card at whatever number in your deck, just make sure you play it. And then finally, to round it off, is top of his game, Son Gohan. And this is your super combo. It's a world martial art card, so you can actually search it with the Dende and the Ever Curious, of course. And it's a super combo that works at if your life is at 5 or less. So if your opponent tries something cute and knock you from 5 to 3, this this card will actually be allowed to draw you a card and get plus 10k power. Remember, this is not a 0 plus 10k. So this card will only give you combo power if you're at 5 or less when you play it in the combo. So very important to note, but also a lot of people haven't played against these 5 or less combo super combos, so they're not going to expect you to draw in a super combo or push at 5 or defend at 5. So this guy kind of gives you that surprise element. So definitely this is the super combo to play, and it's also blue, so you can charge it if you ever need to. I would never, but anyways, that's the deck, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you wanted more in-depth competitive combo, you know, explaining the deck a little bit more in depth, please check out our Patreon channel. We have a lot of deck profiles. Not only this, you're going to see Peter Katani's competitive versions of decks, Marcel's competitive versions of decks, and more exclusive content and early content that we release on there. So thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it. See you at the next event, Pro Play Tour Richmond, July 13th and 14th for our Dragon Ball Super Regional Championship.